How to beat the elephant defense, part 3. So we're going to cover when they bring their bishop back. So e3, and then they capture here, bishop on d7. So we talked about bringing our knight out. Part 1, all right, they have to dump their bishop first. That's the key. If they do that, then we're in a winning position. Part 1 we covered if they brought their knight out here. Part 2 we brought if they did their bishop over here. So part 3 is if they bring their bishop, put it back on c8. So in this spot, what we do is we bring out our knight to c3, and then their queen has to capture, and then we capture back with our bishop here. And then so then this is mate in 18, I guess is what Stockfish says. And so I just want to go over a few of the most common lines that I've seen. So all of them are losing. I think kind of the natural threat that we're looking at here is this knight is looking to move this pawn, which then would release this bishop down here. So I think the most natural thing that we see from black, like the most common move that I see, is moving the king into this spot to kind of protect the bishop from getting out. But so that still doesn't work. So what we're going to do is dump the knight and bring the bishop or the pawn up here, and then kind of the key move here that isn't supernatural. Like you might think that, oh, maybe I dump this bishop up here, but actually what we're going to do is move our bishop to e3. So we're attacking this square, and our queen is opened up, attacking up here, which could potentially release this bishop too. And so they've got a few different threats that they need to figure out what they're going to do. The two most common moves that we would see is either this, which is just giving a target for the bishop. What we can do is attack with our queen first, and then regardless of which piece they attack with here, we're going to win. So let's say if they attack with their knight, and maybe they miss that, this ends up covering this piece, and now we've got this bishop open as well. So kind of running the bishop and then go and get the rook, and now we've got the rook, and we can just slide our rook back and forth, and we've got mate. If we go back, let's see, we did this, and then we said they took with the knight the first time. If they just straight up take with the bishop, so then we need to capture with our bishop, and now we've got essentially 2 kills lined up for their rook. Or if they decide if they wanted to push past with their bishop, then they have like a ton of kills, so that doesn't make sense for them to do. But either way, you see we've got their rook, and wherever we want to go, we can. Oh, and this line, there's probably an easier way to clean that. We can also do an intermediate so that we can keep their keep getting our pieces killed. I'm gonna go back again. Let's see. All right, so we were doing this spot. If instead they want to move this pawn up, we can capture with our queen first, and again, no matter which piece they attack with, like I feel like maybe the bishop seems like a more natural move because your knight is going to have to kill up here, but it doesn't matter because we've got 2 kills lined up with our rook. And so now we've got their 2 rooks that we can go. So pretty simple as far as that goes. And cleaning. If they take with the knight instead, same thing. We have the 2 kills lined up for their rook. And then it's identical cleaning again. All right, so I think that covers if the king comes across and blocks. I'll do a couple different ones. I saw this yesterday. Somebody did this, and I don't know. Like that's just delaying because we're still targeting this right here, and now we've got their bishop. So they failed to block. So now we have the bishop, and we've got their knight also. Like we've got multiple pieces, and line up multiple kills. You can grab the rook, use the bishop. Lots of different ways to clean that one up. That one's fairly simple, and maybe that doesn't seem like a natural move. Another one that I've seen, I don't know if this makes sense or not too. This is, that feels like a panic move, coming to grab the queen. So that's mate and 12 there. We can get their bishop, get their rook, depending on like what they want to do. We've got multiple pieces for them to kill. All right, so then kind of coming back. So we did the king, we did this one, we did this one. If they move up here, I think this one's a little bit more complicated. We're going to kill with the knights, and then they've got a few different moves that they could do. I think the knight coming out is the most common. But we're getting this rook, and we can get their bishop out, and we have their knight too. So that little move right there, we end up killing their knight, and now we have their rook. And again, that if you see some different responses from your opponents, I suggest like kind of looking in Stockfish, and it'll kind of help you figure out the cleaning. Like it's a mate, you just need to kind of memorize some of the spots to get to an easier cleaning. And then I think the last one is if they move their knight here to block. And so this is also mate, and kind of how I remember what to do with this. Like if they move their king here, I know that I'm going here. And if they move their knight here, I know that then I'm going to move my knights, my other knights, to this spot. So that's kind of what I've memorized, and then figuring out how to like just finish the cleaning from this space. So here, like our knight's attacking all these covered pieces. We're threatening to get the rook out. So I think if we threaten to get the rook out, the most natural spot is to maybe try to block with this knight. This is like mate and 14, so it doesn't actually work. And then now we have their knight and their rook, and we can get their pawn here. There's a handful of different pieces that we can go after. So again, this one, like, it's tricky with the cleaning. Like this one's not, there's so many different options with this. Like I recommend kind of just practicing with Stockfish and trying to see what you can do to get it memorized or whatever. So with this, we can go get the other rook, and then you just kind of move pieces out of the way. And so then that is that mate. So I think that's everything for this line. Just remember, all right, so you bring out your knight to c3 and capture back with your bishop. I think the most common thing that you're going to see is them moving their king here or the knight here. I think those are the two most common ones. And so again, the king, the trick is to move your bishop to this spot, and then you can get the win. And then if they capture with their knight instead, or if they block with their knight, then we're going to move our knight into here and attack this rooks on the H file. So all right, so that's part 3. If you want to see some other lines in that, let me know which ones you want to look at. And then kind of another thing that somebody in the comments had asked about is in this spot right here. What should black be doing? Because like if you look at what Stockfish says to do, Stockfish says capturing back with your bishop is the best move, which that is correct. So if you capture back with your queen, that's mate in 18. I've got a video for that one. That one's pretty easy to do for white, so you would never want to capture back with your queen. Capturing back with your king, that's also gets to a pretty easy winning position for white, so I don't recommend doing that. Capturing with your knight, that would probably be the second best option from the bishop. I've seen some people do okay with this, and I don't know. Like I don't. Me personally, like in this spot, like I'm not playing e6 like almost ever. So maybe I'll go over some openings at some point for like here's some kind of general openings and some of the options and which ones are the most viable. So like again, like if we get the elephant defense, if your opponent's trying something different, then that ends up like this ends up being a pretty even game. Same with even if you bring your knight out here, like if they bring their queen out, like it's still winning for white, but it's a lot harder of a game. Like kind of the key is if they dump their bishop off, then you've got a much easier win in that spot. And most people that are playing the elephant defense will do that. So so I'll stop here. We'll work on some other videos in the future, but throw in the comments if there's a particular line or response you want me to address. So we'll see you guys.